Good morning and glad to have you join us on News Bites live broadcast of news headlines. We go around all the 36 plus the Federal Capital Territory, all the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory to bring you news and information making rounds in our nation. We put them together, we compile them and we deliver them to you every morning this way. My name is Oluwa Mayomikun. It's always a pleasure to have you join us. Well, join me to share this link on your timeline as I'll do that now. So please just give me some few minutes, 1 or 2, 3 minutes to share this on my timeline as I enjoin you as well to share the same on your timeline so that your friends can be connected and they can be informed. As always, we have a very robust package for you this morning, so it'll be good when food is served for you to come and eat. So welcome to the table. Today is Tuesday, the 26th of September. Oh, I seem to be in a hurry. Today is Tuesday, the 26th of September 2017, and a pleasure to have you join us. So let's go, but not without me sharing the link on my timeline, so just hold on. All right, the page is coming on. All right, I want to share on my timeline, so please do us a favor, help us share this on your timeline as well. Sharing on my timeline. Just a moment. Right, if you're just joining us, invite others to like the page. Invite others to also join us every morning where we bring you the rich compilation of news headlines. Not only the headlines, they also give you, the meat of the matter. So yeah, the page is coming up. All right. For those who watch this on YouTube, the page is News Bites on Facebook. News Bites, just news, N-E-W-S, and then Bites, B-Y-T-E-S. Once you search for it, it comes up, and you can view all our past broadcasts of news. It also becomes a good reference point should you want to catch up with the news stories on a particular day. I'm aware that, sometimes people need a particular news information on a particular day and they're wondering which day did it happen. You can always scroll down our timelines and see as many videos of past broadcasts that we have. We've also had interviews in times past, interviews on topical issues or news breaking. We've had open mics, so feel free to, from time to time, come back on the, to the page to check what happened on a particular day. What we do now is we label it by date. We put the date there so it's easy for you to, it's easy for us to archive, also it's also easy for you to locate. All right. Okay, so I'm sharing on my timeline now. Okay, I encourage you to help us share it on your timeline as well, so as we appreciate you for doing that. Thank you so much. All right, it's posting. Okay, it's been shared to my timeline. Okay. All right, I think you can go now. Okay, we can go now. Okay. All right, we're good to go with our news now. Join us. My name is Oluwa Mayomikun and I welcome you. Feel free to drop your comments on the section if you're up to it with any of the news items that we shall be bringing you. I think we have over 20 news items, and there are items that that are very, very hot topics, issues that you'd love to catch up with. So hold on please, I want to reduce the there's something popping up and could end up making some noise, so let's deal with that. All right, we go now. President Muhammadu Buhari has returned to Abuja after attending the 72nd session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. The president's aircraft landed at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, at about 7 p.m. on Monday, where he was received by top government officials, including his Chief of Staff, Abba Kyari, the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, and the Acting Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibrahim Magu. Governors Rotimi Akeredolu, Dave Umahi, and Abdulaziz Yari were also at the airport to receive the president. They were among the fewer than 20 people on the president's entourage to the UN. The president on September 21st left New York at about 8:05 a.m. for JFK International Airport for his onward journey back home via London in the United Kingdom. President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered the immediate evacuation of Nigerian students stranded on Dominican Island, occasioned by the reported Hurricane Maria that trashed the island. Following the president's directive, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has since been on top of the situation. It was gathered that the ministry, which has been monitoring the situation, had already assigned a senior official to travel for the purpose of issuing the stranded students with temporary travel certificates. The affected students have since been evacuated to safety. Nigerian students attend medical schools in Dominican Islands, which prepared them to move to the US and Europe for the completion of their medical degrees programs. At least 10 people were killed as Hurricane Maria, ranked a Category 4 storm, raged through the Caribbean, including parts of the Dominican Republic with heavy rain and high winds as it passed off its east coast on Thursday. Hurricane Maria, which sustained winds of up to 250 kilometers per hour, hit Puerto Rico on Wednesday, making it the strongest storm to hit the U.S. territory in nearly 19 years. Over 19,000 schools and about 3 million pupils in the 14 pilot states of the Federation have so far benefited from the National Homegrown School Feeding Program, part of the Muhammadu Buhari administration's 500 billion naira social investment programs. According to figures released by the Vice President's office, over 6.6 billion naira have been disbursed by the federal government since the school feeding program kicked off late last year. With 3,325 schools, Kaduna State has the highest number of schools so far covered under the program, as well as 835,508 children, the highest number of school children who have been fed. That's in Kaduna State. They have the highest. It is closely followed by Bauchi State with 1,904 schools already covered, while 307,013 school children in the state have so far benefited from the program. Benue State follows with 2,220 schools and 240,827 school children fed. Ogun State is also a big beneficiary with 903 schools and 231,660 pupils fed. Zamfara State also recorded a high number with 1,952 schools covered and 198,788 pupils fed. Osun State, of course, which pioneered feeding school kids even since the beginning of Governor Rauf Aregbesol's administration, has 1,850 schools covered, and that equates to 151,438 pupils fed. That's in Osun State. Well, we have for Taraba, we have for Anambra. Maybe later we'll put it in a tabular form and put it on our timeline so that at a glance you can look at them. But that's just the scorecard of the President Buhari's social intervention program. Anyway, with the commencement of a new academic session this month, it is expected that more schools will benefit from the program, as more states will be added to the list in line with the federal government's target that 5.5 million school children will be fed by the end of this year. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo explains that one of the reasons the Buhari administration's homegrown school feeding program was conceived is to address problems of malnutrition, especially regarding primary school pupils. Professor Osinbajo stated this on Monday while receiving at the presidential villa a delegation of Nigerian Human nutritionist led by the Deputy Governor of Kano State, Professor Hafiz Abubakar. About 54,950 megawatts of electricity was not utilized in the first 17 days of September by the 11 electricity distribution companies that we call DISCOs, enough to energize 10.9 million households. Did you hear that? Yes, we have excess, but it couldn't be passed down. Let's hear the reason. Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, at a session of the National Council on Power, NACOP, last Thursday said 1 megawatt of electricity is capable of powering about 200 households. Meanwhile, we had 54,000, over 54,000 megawatts not utilized early this month, when one can actually, 1 megawatt can serve 200 households. Okay, let's continue. The almost 55,000 megawatts unutilized energy from the DISCO's end is estimated to serve 10.9 million homes. Latest data released by the Transmission Company of Nigeria last Tuesday showed that 61,711 megawatts of electricity was allocated to the 11 DISCOs in the period from which they served an estimated 11.05 million households with 55,239 megawatts. Analysis of the data showed that Ikeja DISCO rejected the highest energy of 24,090 megawatts during the 17-day period. Okay. Why? Okay, yes, I know that a few days ago we brought you news. I think the DISCOs were saying that they had problems with the lines, something. Is this the reason why they are rejecting this excess? And Nigerians are complaining. Some Nigerians are complaining that they've not had light. Here we have it, this report is telling us we have excess, or we had excess in the, earlier this month. Let's continue. The lowest figure was 5,536 megawatts from Yola DISCO. Yola DISCO rejected that amount of power. The other top figures for unutilized power came from Ibadan DISCO of 18,733 megawatts. Abuja rejected 17,656. Eko DISCO rejected 14,808 megawatts. Jos DISCO rejected 8,983 megawatts. Enugu DISCO rejected 13,916 megawatts. Benin DISCO rejected 12,717 megawatts. Kano DISCO rejected 12,813 megawatts. And okay, that's it. Now, a breakdown of households that could have benefited from the unutilized power showed that as high as 4.8 million homes could have been energized with Ikeja DISCO alone. The one that Ikeja DISCO rejected, a breakdown is showing that 4.8 million households would have been served by them. And we have a lot of breakdown. Maybe, the second assignment that I have this one is actually to also put this in tabular form and post it on the site for you to appreciate. Meanwhile, the 11 DISCOs have continually denied the claims of not utilizing some generated electricity. The DISCOs blamed the system operator, a section of the TCN, for misinterpreting energy readings by miscalculating drop in electricity demand from customers at night as load rejection. Well, they're saying, no, we didn't reject it though. It's just that in the night people don't use a lot of power. So what do we do with it? Anyway, Nigerians would love to have more power served to their households. Many people have meanwhile, federal government has gazetted. Okay, I think the internet is back now. Okay, let's see whether it's better. The internet is messing up. Someday we'll just overcome this palaver. Federal government has gazetted the order of the Federal High Court in Abuja, which proscribed the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and designated the group as a terrorist organization. The gazetting is part of the requirements imposed on the federal government by the court to finalize the proscription of the group. With the gazetting, it is left for the federal government to publish the proscription order in 2 newspapers. Investigations revealed that following the gazetting of the proscription order, the federal government, through the Central Authority Unit of the Federal Ministry of Justice, has commenced moves to notify banks, Nigerian embassies abroad, and foreign missions operating in Nigeria from further relating with IPOB. Acting Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice Abdul Kafarati, had on September 20 issued the proscription order upon an ex parte application by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami. Justice Kafarati, who heard the AGF's motion in chambers, had, in addition to directing the federal government to gazette the order, ordered it to publish it in 2 national dailies. Meanwhile, IPOB, through its lawyer, Ifeanyi Ejiofor, had barely 48 hours after the court's proscription order was issued, filed a motion on September 22nd, that's on Friday, before the same court, seeking the nullification of the said order for being made by the court without jurisdiction, among other alleged defects. However, a copy of the Gazette cited on Monday, yesterday, showed that the 5-page document was printed and published by the federal government printer in Lagos on September 20, the particular date the Federal High Court in Abuja issued the proscription order. The document was signed by the AGF. Amnesty International was conspicuously absent at the Presidential Panel of Investigation into the Armed Forces' compliance with human rights obligations and rules of engagement on Monday in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State's capital. A 9-man panel led by Justice Biobele George Will had earlier invited Amnesty International to the event, where it is expected that the body will prove some of its claims against the Nigerian Army and other armed forces which bordered on human rights violation. When the sitting began at about 10 a.m., no representatives of the Amnesty International was available to speak on the main issue for which the panel was set up. In his remarks, the chairman of the panel, Justice George Will, confirmed the invitation of the International Anti-Human Rights Violation Body to appear before the panel at its sitting in Maiduguri and expressed dissatisfaction over their absence. Judge Will also recalled that the panel informed the organization about its sitting in Port Harcourt, observing that the body failed to appear even though it promised that it will be present at the sitting in Rivers State. He pointed out that the reason for inviting Amnesty International is to give it an opportunity to prove some of its claims on human rights violation against the military in the Northeast. He, however, notes that Amnesty International still has the opportunity of appearing before the panel in Lagos, Kaduna, and Enugu, adding that failure by the body to appear will mean they will no longer complain. Inspector General of Police Ibrahim Idris has ordered the dismantling of all roadblocks nationwide with immediate effect, particularly on Lagos-Ibadan, Shagamu-Benin, and Benin-Onitsha highways. The order also affects Okene-Abuja, Kaduna-Kano, Katsina-Kano, Otukpo, Enugu, Enugu Port, and Enugu-Port Harcourt expressways, according to a statement on Monday made by the police spokesman Jimoh Moshood. The directives, Moshood added, is necessary to enable ease of doing business in Nigeria, safeguard and guarantee free passage of goods and travelers throughout the country. He states that Assistant Inspectors General of Police in charge of the zonal commands, Commissioners of Police in charge of state commands, and heads of departments must ensure that every patrol vehicle in their respective formations has a conspicuous and legible inscription of patrol vehicle and identification number and dedicated emergency phone numbers for identification and report of distress by members of the public. He adds that the AIG in charge of border patrol is specifically directed to ensure compliance with the directive along the border routes, except the few approved points by the federal government. Moshood also says, and I quote, "Furthermore, police personnel involved in vehicular patrol on highways and major roads across the country must wear the uniforms with a bold name tag and service number." You hear that? Off quote. The IG has also directed the special escorts to embark on removal of other forms of illegal blockage and obstructions on highways and roads created by illegal revenue collectors, road transport unions, labor and trade associations. The force advised the state and local government revenue as well as trade unions that it is against the law to restrict members of the public from the free use of roads anywhere in the country. All right, so all those states, all those ones that stop you and say you haven't paid for this, you need to pay for this and all that, I think you can tell them that the IG has dismantled all roadblocks on our roads. That's good news. Hope it will be implemented. Federal government on Monday said it will reintroduce tolling on the nation's highways to raise the much needed funds to maintain the roads. Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, stated this while addressing members of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria who visited him in his office in Abuja. Fashola said that the tolling system would only be introduced to road projects that have been completed by the government. The minister's position may be an endorsement of the Senate's proposal in July for the return of tolls on federal roads and the setting aside of 0.5% of transport fares paid by passengers on interstate trips to generate funds for the rehabilitation and maintenance of roads in the country. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has challenged the power of the Sokoto State Governor, Aminu Tambuwal, for pardoning 5 defendants, including a serving commissioner in his cabinet, Tukur Alkali, who is the Commissioner for Animal Health and Fisheries Development. Others pardoned include the Commissioner for Home Affairs, Isa Achida, the Chairman, Governing Board, National Commission for Colleges of Education, Maigari Jinyadi, the member representing Isa constituency at the House of Assembly, Habibu Modachi, and the permanent secretary, Isa Bello. All the pardoned officials who are now serving under the current Tambuwal administration were in 2009 arraigned alongside the former governor of Sokoto State, Atahiru Bafarawa, for an alleged 15 billion naira fraud, having also served under him between 2002 and 2007. EFCC also arranged 10 others before a Sokoto State High Court for the same alleged offenses. Curiously, however, only those who are currently serving under Tambuwal were pardoned, while the others, including Bafarawa, were left to their fate. The anti-graft agency, however, on its Facebook yesterday said it has filed an appeal and will ensure that the 5 pardoned persons do not escape justice. Chairman, Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, Professor Ise Sage, has also condemned Tambuwal's action, saying the money which was allegedly stolen belonged to the people of Sokoto State and not the governor. Sage says such actions taint the anti-corruption war of President Muhammadu Buhari. Meanwhile, All Progressive Congress has hit Professor Ise Sage over his statement in a recent newspaper interview, accusing the party's leaders of being a bunch of unprincipled people, encouraging and accepting rogues into the party. The APC in turn called Sage, the professor of constitutional law, a rogue elephant in a reaction issued by Publicity Secretary Bolaji Abdullahi. APC says, and I quote, "We want to remind Sage and all other appointees of our government that the only reason they occupy their current position today is because APC won the election. There is therefore a matter of honor to show decorum and respect for the party and its leadership. You cannot love the fruit and hate the tree that produced it." Of course, that's APC. The party said Sage, by lashing out at the party's leadership, is also indicting President Muhammadu Buhari, who is the leader of the APC, by his utterances. Sage has also had several verbal squabbles with National Assembly members, especially senators, asking them to jettison distinguished, which prefixed their title of senators, and has vowed to continue to criticize them for bleeding the nation dry. Senate President Bukola Saraki yesterday said a bill to legalize constituency projects is being considered to address controversies trailing it. Speaking during a public hearing on 3 bills tagged constituency projects, Tax Incentives Management Bill, and Companies Income Tax. One is, constituency project is Budgetary Provision Bill, Tax Incentives Management Bill, and Company Income Tax just needs amendment. Organized by the Senate Committee on Finance, Saraki said the bill will ensure that every local government is covered in the allocation of projects in the annual budget. Saraki said it is pertinent to educate the public that this bill is not to empower the National Assembly members to take 20% of the annual budget and use it for personal consumption. Also speaking, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, Senator John Eno, PDP Cross River State, said the other 2 bills, when passed, will assist in blocking revenue leakages, enhance tax collection, and stimulate the economy. President of the Senate, Dr. Bukola Saraki, has said the upper chamber of the National Assembly is working to ensure the completion of the passage of the Petroleum Industry Bill in the fourth quarter of the year. Saraki stated this in Lagos yesterday again at the Nigeria Oil and Gas Industry Research and Development Fair and Conference 2017, organized by the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board. The PIB, which has been in the works since 2008 when it was first introduced to the legislature, suffered setbacks in the 6th and 7th National Assembly. Saraki said the PIB was split into four parts, that is, Petroleum Industry Governance Bill, Petroleum Industry Administration Bill, Petroleum Industry Fiscal Bill, and Petroleum Host Community Bill to fast-track its passage into law. Saraki, who was represented by the Chairman Senate Committee on Petroleum Upstream, Senator Tayo Alashadura, said the PIB established clear rules, regulations, procedures, and institutions for the efficient administration of the petroleum bill of the petroleum industry. He notes that the Petroleum Industry Administration Bill, the Petroleum Industry Fiscal Bill, and Petroleum Host Community Bill have all gone through the second reading. You may recall that the Senate on May 25, 2015, passed the PIGB, which seeks to unbundle the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and merge its subsidiaries into an entity. For his part, Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Dr. Ibe Kachuku, said the nation's oil and gas industry has operated for about 60 years, but sufficient attention has not been paid to the development of local research capabilities. Adamawa House of Assembly on Monday impeached 4 of its principal officers, including the Deputy Speaker, Sunday Peter, and the Majority Leader, Musa Mahmood. Others removed are the Deputy Majority Leader, Mutawali Mohammed, and the Minority Leader, Justina Nkom. The Speaker, Kabiru Mijinyawa, presided over the first plenary after the House resumed from a 6-week recess. The Deputy Speaker was immediately replaced by Emmanuel Samdu, while Hassan Boguma was also elected new Majority Leader. Abubakar Hayatu moved the motion for the impeachment of the Deputy Speaker and was seconded by Abubakar Abdurrahman. The House elected Abubakar Issa new Deputy Majority Leader, while Lasumbani Dili took over as the Minority Leader. Nasarawa State House of Assembly yesterday approved the request of Governor Umar Tanko Almakura to sell the state properties in Lagos, Jos, and Kaduna State due to the dilapidation and deteriorating condition of the properties. Speaker of the House, Ibrahim Balarabe Abdullahi, disclosed the approval on Monday while reading the House resolution over the governor's letter presented by the majority of the House, Tanko Tunga, at the floor of the House in Lafia. Abdullahi said the proceeds realized from the sales is to be plowed back to complete the multi-purpose Nasarawa State House at the Central Business Area, Garki, Abuja, as well as other projects that have direct bearing on the lives of the citizens of the state. He further directed the clerk of the House to communicate the House resolution to Governor Almakura for necessary action. Ondo State government says at least 20 indigenes have been attacked in Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State, after a football match between Ondo Sunshine Stars and Osun United Football Club. This comes after a commissioner in Osun State, Bola Ilori, was attacked by some members of the APC at the event center, the Dome, in Akure, the Ondo State capital, during a public hearing on restructuring. Ondo Sports and Youth Development Commissioner Saka Ogunleye and his information and orientation counterpart Yemi Olowolabi told a press conference that Sunshine Stars supporters were critically injured by suspected thugs from Osun State. Ogunleye said about 40 vehicles with the inscription of Osun logo were mobilized to the stadium, adding that many of those who attacked Ondo people were suspected loyalists of the APC in Osun State, going by the clothes many of them wore. He said trouble started after the match ended 3-1 in favor of Sunshine Star FC, stressing that the Ondo team was caught unawares, thereby making many of them sustain various degrees of injuries. Ogunleye, who said he was physically present at the stadium during the attack, alleged that Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola called the Awujale of Ijebu-Ode when those who perpetrated the attack were arrested by the police. Two of the victims of the attack, Ayodele Folorunso and Felix Olowa, who sustained injuries on their heads, recounted that various weapons, including a hatchet, cutlasses, stones, were used on them. Both men said they were brutally injured and lost personal belongings, including mobile phones, shoes, and clothes. In the attack, Olowolabi said the attack on Ondo people was unfortunate and called on Aregbesola to call his people to order. He said many of the victims of the attack were already receiving medical treatment in various hospitals across the state. Although Olowolabi did not link the attack to the recent attack on the Osun State Commissioner for Regional Integration, that's Bola Ilori, he decried the situation and stressed the need for peace to reign between the two states. Ilori was said to have been attacked while trying to grant a press interview. He was beaten and his clothes and underwear torn. That's sad. Lagos State government on Monday donated 120 power generating sets to the State Police Command for its 107 divisions and 13 area commands to enhance security operations. Governor Akinwumi Ambode was represented at the event by Oye Hassan Udukale, Chairman, Lagos State Security. The governor is a major addendum of the administration. Earlier, Dr. Abdulrazak Balogun, Executive Secretary of the fund, says the donation is in line with the state Light Up Lagos program and cranny of the state is well lit. While receiving the set, the State Commissioner of Police, Imohimi Regal, commends the government for being the police force's most valuable partners in fighting crime in the state. Kaduna State Commissioner for Education, Professor Andrew Nok, has disclosed that the state government awarded contracts for the rehabilitation of 457 primary and secondary schools under emergency intervention from last year till date. He said this at the distribution of 250 chairs to Government Girls Secondary School to Nupawa in Kaduna on Monday. Sorry, let me take that again. It's not Kano. He said this at the distribution of 250 chairs to Government Girls Secondary School to Nupawa in Kaduna on Monday. According to him, 360 out of the 457 schools have been completely renovated, while others are at various stages of completion. The effort, he said, is aimed at improving learning environment so as to achieve a better output. The commissioner, who was represented by the ministry's permanent secretary, Adamu Monsor, disclosed that so far over 90,000 chairs have been distributed to public schools across the state, saying the government had awarded contract for supply of 256,182 units of chairs. He, however, assured that distribution of chairs will continue until all public schools are fully equipped to provide quality teaching to the students. That's a good one. A vaccination campaign for yellow fever is planned to begin in Ifelodun local government area of Kwara State by September 30 to prevent further spread of infection. Ifelodun is where a girl in the community of Okeowa was reported to have contracted yellow fever on September 12. Surrounding local government areas will also be covered in the vaccination campaign, according to the Nigerian Center for Disease Control. The case of yellow fever was diagnosed at Lagos University Teaching Hospital and confirmed at Institute Pasteur in Dakar, Senegal. Since then, sorry. Maybe I'm rushing. Maybe that's why I'm stuttering. Okay, let me just calm down. Since then, Kwara State epidemiologist. Oh God, what's happening this morning? Okay. Since then, Kwara State epidemiology team has been working with federal and international partners to continue investigation and assess risks. A multi-agency incident management system has also been constituted at the Nigerian Center for Disease Control to ensure a rapid and coordinated response. Yellow fever is an acute viral hemorrhagic disease transmitted by infected mosquitoes. Over 145 staff of the State Post-Primary Education Board in Delta State have been sacked. The affected staff include 52 truants who have either abandoned or absconded from their duty posts, while 93 have been confirmed dead and 9 others who were found to be irregular in attendance at work. In a statement issued by the head of service, Regina Bayoko, the state government says the measure is part of efforts by the Okowa administration to check ghost workers, sanitize the payroll system, and rid the state public service of truancy. Bayoko said that those who have been receiving salaries after absconding or abandoning their duty post will be reported to the police and be made to face the full wrath of the law. He maintained that for the 9 staff who were irregular in attendance at work, appropriate disciplinary action will be taken against them according to relevant extant regulations. Governor Ifeanyi Okowa recently directed that the names of about 530 workers be deleted from the payroll who fraudulently falsified their record of service. According to latest government update on the staff verification exercise, the sum of 12.319 billion naira was recovered from the sack of the 530 civil servants. Nigeria Labour Congress in Zamfara State has announced a conditional suspension of its 12-day strike in the state. The NLC had called the strike a couple of weeks ago, following what they described as state government's nonchalant attitude to some critical labor issues. The issues of contention include, but not limited to, non-implementation of new minimum wage, non-payment of promotional arrears, and the issue of gratuity and pension benefits. However, the state chairman of the NLC, Bashir Mafara, says the suspension of the strike action follows the agreement reached between organized labor and the government on Sunday. He said an 11-man committee was constituted by the acting governor, Ibrahim Muhammad, to look into the issues raised by organized labor. The agreement reached during the meeting include the maintaining of the monthly standing payment order of 100 million naira for gratuity and the payment of outstanding promotion, which amounts to 61 million naira in the month of September 2017, among other issues. Kogi State government has warned that it will not pay workers who fail to turn up for work on the account of the ongoing industrial action declared by organized labor in the state. Director General on Media and Publicity to the Governor, Kingsley Fanwo, in a statement issued on Monday, government will not leave the people abandoned in the face of the ill-fated strike called by labor leaders in the state. He hints that government is as called by labor. Fanwo urged different to call on labor to shift their Fanwo urged different interest groups in the state to call on labor to shift their sword and go back to work, stressing that government is prepared to allay their fears. 5 men armed with AK-47 rifles on Monday invaded the palace of Olubadu at Popoyemoja, where the monarch was installing new chiefs. The gunmen who arrived at the scene in a spaceboat fired gunshots, but no casualty was recorded in the incident. One of the gunmen was said to have shot several times into the air through the open roof of the vehicle, while others reportedly shot through windows of the vehicle. An eyewitness said the gunmen were dressed in black clothes with red headbands. Men of the State Joint Security Task Force, that's Operation Burst, arrived at the palace within 5 minutes of the incidents to restore normalcy. The incident occurred at the time the monarch was about to commence the installation of 4 new ballets, that's villages or what you call mortgages, in his palace. Meanwhile, Governor Abiola Ajimobi of Oyo State has condemned the act of brigandage at the palace of the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Saliu Adetunji. In a statement signed by his special advisor on communications and strategy, Yomi Layinka, the governor directed security agencies to ensure that the masterminds are swiftly arrested, interrogated, and brought to justice. He vowed not to allow anyone or group of persons desirous of bringing back the regime of violence and brigandage to the state. Ajimobi reiterates his commitment to the security and protection of lives and property of citizens of Oyo State, which is said that his administration labored hard to restore and maintain in the last 6 years. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed said the deadly attack on Benin Zoo on Sunday is a big blow to Nigeria's tourism drive. Mohammed, in a statement, strongly condemned the attack on Ogba Zoo and Nature Park in Benin, Edo State, during which 3 policemen were killed and the head of the zoo, Dr. Andy Ehaniri, was abducted by the attackers. In a statement issued on Monday, the minister describes the attack on one of the country's foremost tourist destinations as a big blow to ongoing efforts to lift the tourism sector in the country. Mohammed said the government will step up security in all the tourist sites across the country, in particular in order to prevent a recurrence, while urging the abductors of Dr. Ehamiri to quickly release him unharmed. He also sent his condolences to the families of the policemen who were killed in the attack and prayed God to grant the repose of their souls. And lastly, Nigerian hip-hop twins Peter and Paul Okoye of the popular stage name P-Square has finally split, according to a letter sent to their lawyer Festus Keyamo. By Peter, he demanded for a termination of the agreement as a group. In the letter sent out to media outlets on Monday, Peter based his decision on some serious allegations against his twin brother Paul and Jude. He accused Paul of no longer willing to cooperate with him. He also accused him of to the United States. He adds that Paul is also okay. The internet does not want Samuel Abi. He's not on. I think the one here too is Paul. Is telling me. All right. The connection here is spoiled, maybe because it's raining here. Well, it rained over. The internet is spoiled. It might be from here. Anyway, let's wrap up. Thank God we've taken that last the one on P Square splitting. All right, that's it for today, for this morning. I mean, that's it for our news compilation this morning. My name is Oluwa Mayomikun. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hope we've been able to actually serve you well. The internet messed up, but I think we were able to make some sense out of the stories that we brought to you today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and then look out for those two reports that we promise we'll put in the tabular form for you to understand very well. We'll put it on the timeline very soon so that you can actually be informed. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's do this again tomorrow morning, but in the course of the day we'll try and see when we how to update you on news items breaking in our environment. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.